Man, I hope everything goes according to plan today. How's everybody doing? Wait, am I tripping? Oh no, I'm not tripping. Turn that way down. There we go. How's everybody hanging today? Huh? You know? Precept, if you think for some reason that your view is just people that follow the Bible, then what were the Christians prior to the Bible being canonized? Where were they? How did they know which church was the true church without access to the scriptures? What's up, everybody? What's up, everybody?
Hey man, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. What's up?
Did I not talk to you last time, right?
I don't remember. What was it about?
Oh, I told you I'm Sufi, and then you said you got...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're the Sufi guy that,
Are you the same guy, right?
I think so. I do remember talking to you, but I don't know if I'm the same guy as in the amount of people that you've spoken to.
No, because I think
You're the
you had
33rd
different
degree
kind of
Sufi,
setup.
yeah.
But
People remember you.
yes. Yeah, no, because I never saw you after that. I don't know.
I've been streaming.
Maybe I was busy, but... Okay. You just showed up on my live. I'm like, is this the same guy I was talking to?
Yeah.
That's
Heck
good.
yeah. How's it been?
How's it going, man?
Things have been good with me. I mean,
Good.
You know,
So-
we've been continuing in, ministry and whatnot and spreading the word of God.
Yeah, did you happen to follow the guy that I told you, Son of God Ministry?
I don't think I did. You said Son of God.
He's
ministry?
a Gnostic Son of God. His name is Josh. He got long hair, from Washington D.C.
Okay.
Yeah, you should follow him.
I can take a look.
Yo, hello?
Yeah, what's up?
Yeah, I'm not gonna be up here for long. I just want to say that you might want to correct what's on your prompt. It says that the Trinity is true. That doesn't really make any sense to say, because obviously truth bearers are going to be non-concrete entities, or like abstract, or like linguistic, or psychological. So it wouldn't really make sense to say that the Trinity, which is a being, would be true. Rather, you'd want to say that the Trinity exists, right?
Are we dead ass right now?
What do you think it means to say that something is true?
I mean, I'm just saying that the doctrine of the Trinity is true.
Okay, well, it's not what it says. It says the Trinity is true. The Trinity is a being. Obviously,
Trinity is a doctrine.
Trinity doesn't.
I'm referring to it as a doctrine. Sorry that you misinterpreted it.
Well, I mean, that's really not how people use the term. They don't really say.
Should I be
Trinity,
appealing
and
to the
they're referring to
analytics
a
bergs or
doctrine.
something? Is that what you're saying? That I should be appealing to
What's
like
what's
analytics bergs?
analytics bergs? Who's that?
People that actually care about the type of stuff that you come up here to tell me about. Like the fact
Well, I
that
just
you
want-
even
I'm trying
chose
to,
to
like,
like
make sure
come
you have
up
it
here
correct.
thinking that I was gonna care or that it was actually gonna matter.
I just want to make sure that you're
know
doing
what
it
it
correct,
is.
though.
But why? What's the point? Why would you do that?
To make sure that you're correct, because I'm
Yeah,
a
why?
kind soul. Because I'm kind. I don't want to see you like
Because you're
wonder. I
kind.
don't want to see you.
You have to. So you think that there's people that are gonna join this call in some way, shape, or form, and be like, "Wow, this loser thinks that the Trinity
No,
is a not what?"
no. I'm saying that it's for your own sake, because you're actually Trinity is true, right? The Trinity is a being. The Trinity is a
No,
doctrine. I don't know
I'm
if it says
using
the
it as a
Trinity is
doctrine. Doctrine of the Trinity is true.
Yeah, but that's just idiosyncratic. It's not interesting.
Yeah, no, it's not.
I could say like Allah is a burger, and
Yeah,
Allah
something
just
being
being like a burger
idiosyncratic is
doesn't make any
subjective. I literally
sense.
don't care if you think it's idiosyncratic.
Well, it is idiosyncratic, and I was just like burger talk. I don't know. I just can't use the correct, clear terminology. You want to be incorrect. Why do you want to be incorrect?
What's the clear, correct terminology? You a Trinitarian?
Yeah, I'm a burger logs.
You're a what?
English.
What?
Is this guy all right? Like what?
I didn't even hear what
This
you
guy's
said.
going crazy. It's like glue squirt.
Gloose glorp?
No, oh my god. Never mind. You know what? Have a good day.
You too,
All
man.
right. You seem like a nice guy, but I don't know. Just try to be more correct and more obviously accurate when you're speaking and putting out these prompts.
Dang,
I was just trying to be nice.
Yeah, I'm sure that you were just trying to be nice.
So I have a
There's just
question. The
analytics Ferg's
Trinity.
always joining up, trying to make a bunch of stupid arguments that make like there's just no point. Like why? Why do you care? Sorry.
Yeah. So my question is: Trinity different than being Trinitarian?
If you're a Trinitarian, you follow the doctrine of the Trinity.
And if you're not,
I mean, then if you're not a Trinitarian, you do not follow the doctrine of the Trinity.
so the halal Christian girl, what is she?
She's a Unitarian because she believes that only the Father is God.
Isn't that what the mainstream Christian belief is?
No, the mainstream Christian belief is the Trinitarian view.
Are you really?
100%, yes.
Maybe in the United States.
If you count every Christian in the entire world, and you ask them if they're Trinitarian or not Trinitarian, the Trinitarians will come out on top when it comes to the amount of people that hold to it.
Okay, so Egyptian Coptic Christians are what?
Trinitarians.
Ethiopians?
Yes, Trinitarian.
Really? What about the Russian Eastern Orthodox?
Yes, they're Trinitarian as well. That's what I mean. I'm Eastern Orthodox.
So your guy is in Russia, or where is he at?
I mean, I'm part of Antioch, but I'm in the same communion as Russia.
Well, because there is no Antioch. I think they moved to Russia, right?
I mean, Antioch didn't literally move to Russia. They're parted in like Syria, I think. They're like in the Syrian region. But yes, in terms of the amount of Christians that exist, though, or people that claim to be Christian, there are more Trinitarians than there are not Trinitarians.
So Unitarians, where are the Unitarians?
What about Unitarians?
Where are they from?
Oh, where are they from?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they descend from people after the Protestant Reformation, mostly. Like most of the people that actually affirmed a quote-unquote Unitarian position prior to the Protestant Reformation don't hold it in the same manner that today's Unitarians hold the view. Like we could see some of the first actual Unitarians in history, kind of Unitarian, is people like Paul of Samosata, who was around in the 200s. He was somebody who held that the Father is the only true God and that the Son became God in a sense after his baptism. It's adoptionism. Stuff like that.
No, for some reason I was in the impression that most Orthodox are actually Unitarian.
No. Maybe Orthodox Jews, but no Orthodox Christian would ever be a Unitarian.
Or when the Jews are Unitarian,
Yeah, but they're not Christian though, so I don't care. You know what I mean? They reject Christ.
No, they're not. They don't accept the one you have. That's
because there's a Christ. There's Jesus Christ.
Yeah. All right, brother. I don't know. Did they reject him outright? Like, what did they say?
Depends on the sect. I mean, like, there's a type of Judaism called Messianic Judaism that holds that Jesus is the Messiah, but their actual, like, theology on whether or not they're Trinitarian or Unitarian is kind of just, like, up in the air. They don't really have, like, a fleshed out doctrine on theology.
Oh, so just make up as they go, I guess.
Yeah.
All right, man. It's nice talking to you.
Cool, man.
Have a good day.
Appreciate it.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Hello? Yeah, so your prompt says Trinity is true. I would say the Trinity is false because it contradicts the divine exegesis presented at Sinai, and also that Jesus isn't the Messiah.
Yeah,
not only according to
changing his name over and over and coming up here.
I didn't change my name. This is my account.
Bro, you come up here with like so many different names before. That's how much I know you. Your voice is like I could see you from a mile away.
Can you answer my question? Like, can you address what I said?
The last time that I had a conversation with you, all we did is argued about. We did an interpretation dance for like 45 minutes, and it was completely.
So I agree with that. That's why I think, because you're an Orthodox Christian, you appeal to tradition, correct?
Yeah.
So if I could establish that the rabbinic interpretation is taught directly from the prophets with an unbroken chain of transmission that has an improbability of fabrication, and I can show you how the Orthodox Christian interpretation contradicts the exegesis taught by the prophets.
So you have the ability to show as a rabbinic Jew after 70 AD that you have a direct line from the Jews prior to 70 AD.
Yes, all the way back to the prophets themselves.
Well, honestly, if you just want to show me that, then we can continue.
Yeah, okay,
that's the
so
only thing I always ask rabbinic people.
Let's do it. So tens of thousands of Jews attest today to receiving the Masorah, the transmission of the oral system and the written system, obviously the Torah, from the previous generation, recounting the previous generation's number in the tens of thousands, verifying them through observation to be righteous, pious, and intellectual.
Bro, somebody precogged your entire argument, which is hilarious.
One second. And also that from the previous generation, that this process of generational transmission in the tens of thousands has always been since the prophets. For this to be false, it entails an entire generation either A, fell into error, or B, fabricated the tradition itself, generationally.
What generation are you talking about? The first century?
Well, no, we're talking about every generation back until Sinai, and the way we can prove that is by the national testimony of the generation.
You're saying that because of your argument for the reason why rabbinic Jews have continuity is because there's so many of them?
No, obviously you didn't understand my argument. That would be circular reasoning and begging the question.
Okay, go again then, because maybe
the argument is that the national testimony we can show in the tens of thousands goes back until Sinai and the prophets, and I'll repeat it one more time.
Yes, so numbers.
So you want to give it to you in a syllogism? You understand?
I mean, I understand your argument. I perfectly steelmanned you. That's the best part.
No, you didn't. That's the funny part. I'll say it one more time. And I'll give it to you in a syllogism. Premise one: Chachamim are reliable transmitters. These are wise and pious Jews. That's the first premise.
I reject premise one.
You reject that Chachamim are valid transmitters? Are you serious?
I don't know who that is.
Yeah, Chachamim are wise and pious Jews that have been verified.
I just reject that.
You can reject that, but then your whole religion becomes unverifiable.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
Are any of these are these pious Jews that you're talking about the people of the that are in the first century that the Christians take from?
They go before the first century.
Yeah, again, you'd have to prove that.
Yeah, we can prove that by national testimony. So
national testimony. The state of Israel, right? Utilizing you said national testimony.
Yeah, but you don't understand what that means.
National testimony in politics is simply just the consensual opinion of a nation.
I'm not saying in politics. It's the fact that the nation attests to receiving the oral system from the previous generation, recounting their number in the tens of thousands, verifying them to be righteous, pious, and intellectual, and that this process of generational transmission has always been in the tens of thousands since the prophets.
What is your argument that they're pious and intellectual? That's like you're just slipping that in.
No, so they're deemed pious and intellectual through observation, just like anything.
By the people that listen to them?
No, by the people, their predecessors, and the people that exist in that generation, verifying them.
Let me do it like this. All right, Samaritans.
I'll give an example.
I'm going to use the Samaritans as an example, right? The Samaritans at the specific time of like the first century, as you know, of course, they only accept the Torah, right? And that is it. They reject the Old Testament as divinely inspired, but rather just only using the Torah.
The Old Testament, even the oral Torah.
Yeah,
correct?
I'm just, you know what I mean. I'm a Christian. I think you know what I mean if I say Old Testament. You're just trying to correct me for no reason. You know what I mean.
No, the Old Testament does not mean the oral Torah.
Yeah, you know, as a Christian, you know what I mean when I say Old Testament. That's what I'm trying to say, is that you're correcting me just to correct me. So let me try this again.
No, I'm not. I'm making sure you say they don't accept the oral Torah.
You know what the Samaritans' position is that they only accept the first 5 books of Moses. Do you agree with that?
Correct.
Okay, cool. All right. Do you believe that the people that were involved in that group believed that those people, the Samaritans, were pious and intellectual.
Yes, but they can't prove a
Okay.
generational chain back until Sinai.
First off, like that, all of that stuff is begging the question before 70 AD. By the way, that's your problem.
It's not begging the question.
It is.
So that we can.
It's
So hold on a
100% your
second.
problem.
So it's not. So we can prove that this transmission goes back before 70 AD, all the way to the prophets by the national
Who's
testimony.
the
There's an
earliest
infallibility-
person close to 70 AD? Right before 70 AD. Who is the closest Jew that writes your position?
Yeah, they don't have to write it down. We can prove
Oh.
it based on. Yeah, and I'll prove it to you. So we can prove that.
That's
we prove-
convenient.
so let me prove it to you.
Okay.
In the same way that many of your Orthodox church traditions are not written down, but rather orally transmitted.
Name one.
Yeah, the sacraments, for example.
That's in
They're written
in a
down-
first century document called the Didache. Try that again.
Yeah, hold on. Was a document written down of the sacraments at the time of Jesus, when Jesus was speaking to the apostles?
We believe that the sacraments are declared in the Gospels, Goober.
Oh, wait, thank you. You're using an interpretive oral method to understand what that means. That you believe was
no.
transmitted by
So,
Jesus.
no.
This is my point.
Because I
Just
also quoted that the
Like what?
Didache, which is a first century document that also declares the sacraments, all of the sacraments, right? It was written in that time. Specifically, is a catechism for the church.
Yeah,
So-
I have no problem with that. What I'm saying
So
is
you
that Jesus.
concede that we already had it written down and you didn't. Thank you. By the first century.
No, I'm saying that the apostles themselves that received it from Jesus did not write down those traditions. My point is you believe that that's the way they taught it. That's the way they taught what these verses meant. In the same way, just because something was not written down at that time does not entail it was not prior knowledge. It can be orally
I don't
transmitted.
think you understand why I use the Didache. The reason why I reference the Didache specifically is because it is the interpretation of the scriptures. It's a document that's outside the scriptures and it's interpreting the scriptures, and it's something that was
I
within
get
the
the
first
same thing.
century church. Okay, name one document that you guys have
Is it-
prior
hold
to
on, hold on.
70
Was
AD
it-
that
hold on,
exists
hold on,
that shows your
was the-
position.
Was the first sorry, I was bugging a little bit. Was the first century church, was that document written down by the apostles? Yes or no?
I believe that they were involved in its writing. I don't specifically know if they're the ones who put pen to paper,
Thank you.
but
This
they
is my
were
exact
involved
point.
in it.
Is that just in the same way that we can prove that these interpretations
So show
are
me one work.
valid? So again, that's irrelevant. Because we
I
prove
can at
it-
least quote a work. You can't quote any work.
again, it's irrelevant. We can prove it existed by prior knowledge through oral testimony, which we can show. So are you going to let
Did
me
oral
give you my
testimony
argument?
exist in heretical groups, like, for example, Hellenic Jews? Was there oral testimony?
Again, we don't care if Jews say stuff. We care if they can trace what they said back until Sinai and the prophets, and none of those groups
But
could.
there's
That's why
gigantic
we don't
gaps
accept
of
it.
actual writings of the... there's gigantic gaps in your guys' view of when something was actually pen to paper. That's the issue. So
no,
then
there
when
isn't.
somebody does
So-
an oral tradition through all of that time, up to the last time that it was written down, you have people that interpret things at the time of when it was written down last. And you can't prove that those people are actually providing that if there's a gap
Wrong.
in that writing.
we can prove by national testimony. And I'll explain it to you again. I don't think you understand. Is that tens of thousands of Jews, I want you to understand the claim. It's not that a bunch of Jews say this is true. It's that the claim is improbable and illogical to be fabricated or fallen into error. Let me explain. Tens of thousands of Jews attest today to receiving the oral system and the written Torah from the previous generation, recounting the previous generation's number in the tens of thousands, verifying them through observation to be righteous and pious and intellectual, and also receiving from these tens of thousands before them that this process of generational transmission in the tens of thousands has always been since the prophets until Sinai. For this to be false, it entails an entire generation either A, fabricated the tradition in the tens of thousands,
I
or
agree
B,
with that.
or B, fell into error. In the tens of, you're saying tens
Actually,
of thousands
honestly,
fabricated it?
honestly, I
Oh my
think
God,
both of them did. Honestly, I think both
Are
of
you
those
actually
are true.
saying that? Okay.
Yeah,
fine.
I'm actually saying that.
Yeah, guess what?
It's-
buddy? I'll
it's
grant that to
documented
you,
that way.
But then Christianity becomes completely unverifiable because it's
How?
by 12 people. It's by 12 people and Paul. So your whole religion is fake.
Yeah, so when I say that people had...
Whole thing is fake.
I'm
Whole
talking
thing.
about going from not
You're a
owning the
joke if you're
Talmud to
saying
having the
tens of
Talmud.
thousands of people fabricated it. You're a joke.
Yeah,
Generationally,
I'm able
they
to make that
fabricated it.
claim because you can't
That's
even actually
illogical.
show any of this to be the case. This is
I
This is a
gave you the
gigantic
evidence
argument
by-
from silence.
So it's not. The
It's a
argument
numbers
is the
game.
natu-
It's a numbers game argument, meaning that
Wrong.
I actually
Wrong.
have the right to just say, "How about this? Yeah, they all erred. Now what?" and I'm not any
Then
more
your whole
verified
religion
than
is
you are.
unverifiable.
No, it's not.
No, then your whole
Because I
religion
can
is
show
unverifiable.
documents in the first century to show the continuity. You literally can't do that.
The documents don't change the fact that it was still 12 apostles and Paul, while in my religion, it was tens of thousands that stood at the foot at Sinai.
Again,
that's the difference.
I'm waiting for
Your
one
whole
person
religion
who
becomes
wrote anything
unverifiable.
down to show that's the case. Anyone.
Yeah, again, as I said before, just because it was
So
not
there's
written down at that
10,000
time,
Jews that could not write. That
Wait,
could
so
not write
wrong.
a single one of their interpretations down.
wrong. The whole point is it's called Torah Sheba'al Peh, the oral Torah, hence orally transmitted. Just because it was not written down at that time does not entail it was not prior knowledge. This is the same thing with any of your church traditions.
Yeah, but you say
It's
tens
ridiculous.
of thousands. Like this is like some like the priesthood was actually something that was reaching within that realm in the first
What?
century.
No, it's not just the priesthood. It's
Oh, it's
all
just
the
laymen too?
Jews. You think?
Do the laymen?
You think that Jews are just the
Do
priesthood?
you,
No, I
believe that
understand-
do you believe that the oral tradition is something that's validly passed down by laymen? Do you believe that?
I believe it's validly passed down by tens of thousands.
I just
of
said
righteous and pious
layman.
people.
I just said layman.
Who's layman?
A layman is somebody who's not involved in the priesthood in any way, shape, or form.
Yes,
They're just somebody
100%.
who goes and listens, right? For
Well, hold on a
that
second. Hold on a
synagogue.
second. If what we mean by a layman, if we mean by someone who's like listening to what's going on in the synagogue, no. When we're referring to the transmitters, we're referring to a certain criteria of individuals.
And what is
And
that
in fact,
criteria?
yeah, to be observed to be righteous and pious.
By who?
Yeah, by the previous generation. Meaning that I'll give you an example of this. Do you trust your mom? I'm gonna assume you trust your mom.
I trust my mom inductively because she took care of me.
Wait, one second. Thank you. You trust your mom, and I'm assuming you trust your mom because you observed her to be a good person, correct? And to have taken care of you, and to be, and I hope maybe intellectual, maybe she's not intellectual. I'm just giving you an example. And because you've seen this criteria with your mom, you trust her. So if your mom went and told you that guy over there is a dangerous guy when you were a kid or 15, whatever, don't go near him. You would listen to your mom because you've observed her to have these qualities. In the same way that we've observed tens of thousands before us, we can observe them to be righteous, pious, and intellectual. And if you say they collectively fabricated together, that is not only illogical, it's improbable. It's much more probable 12 apostles and Paul fabricated the New Testament and what Jesus said than tens of thousands of righteous and pious
Your
intellectual Jews.
probability assumes natural means only, of course, because technically speaking, if God was involved in the process of keeping the 12 apostles, then that probability is completely irrelevant.
Wait,
You have to
you think-
presuppose that the
you're
Gospels
just
are.
presupposing that.
No, I
Wait,
didn't
wait,
even make
wait.
the claim. Do you not understand what I just said to you? Like, are we serious? I didn't even make a claim. How are you think I'm presupposing something?
Are
I
you
didn't make
saying
an
the
argument.
transmission of the apostles is infallible? Are you actually saying that?
Yes, I am.
Oh my God, you're such a joke. Are you serious?
Do you have an argument? This is my position.
Yes.
Go on.
If you're trying to argue that God was on your side on that moment,
Yes, God
every
was on
other
my
religion
side.
can make this. Okay, so hold on a second. So Muhammad, with the testament of the Quran, right? Can Muslims just say because God was on Muhammad's side, therefore there's no probability to the transmission?
Yeah, we
Because-
don't. So
because
we
God was on his
don't.
side.
No, we don't reject Muhammad just on the grounds of the fact that there's attestation, right? We don't reject.
I understand
we reject
that.
it for completely different reasons. So that's
I
irrelevant.
understand that. And what I'm saying is that because I'm not just so you know, I'm not saying that the 12 apostles fabricated your tradition. I'm not saying that. I'm saying if you're going to say that tens of thousands of people verified to be righteous and pious intellectual collectively came and fabricated it, then your religion is false. Because
I mean, you can't
it is-
actually show
because-
that my religion is then therefore false
no,
because of that.
we can. Because it's much more probable 12 people and Paul fabricated it than
Probability
tens of
doesn't
thousands of people.
determine falsity, Goober. How do you you think
Goober,
that
if
you
you
think
mean
that
infallibly,
probability?
that's not the question.
Hold on. If you think that something is improbable, that doesn't just because something, even if you believe that something is improbable on its own
Not
ground,
believe, it's a
that it
fact.
automatically determines that this thing is now false. That's not how that works.
I never. If you mean false infallibly, that's with nothing. You can't prove
False
anything
infallibly.
infallibly false.
False
You can't-
infallibly. What is?
Yes, meaning that there's no potential or possibility for it to be true. Meaning anything is possible. Meaning it's possible that Jesus is the Messiah. It's possible Jesus is God. It's also possible that behind my screen right now that you are actually
Is it
an alien.
is it logically
We don't- hold on,
possible
hold
that
on.
Jesus is God?
Hold on, that's not my argument. I can grant you that for the sake of the discussion. That it's logically can be
Really?
done. It's not. No, yeah, I can grant.
Is
you that.
everything
It's not
in
a big
God necessary?
what the point is very simple. Is that we don't go by possibility. We go by probability and evidence. And the probability of tens of thousands of people observed to be righteous, pious, intellectual, misverifying their predecessors, falling into error, or fabricating the tradition is extremely low because it's a nationally attested event. Now, if you're going to say they did, Christianity becomes unverifiable because it's by
I'm just
12
waiting
people.
for like one guy out of these tens of thousands. One.
Again, the names are irrelevant. I can give you one if you
I
want.
want
can give you one if you want,
somebody
but it's
who
irrelevant.
is prior to 70 AD that connects to a post 70
Then-
AD
then-
person.
then- that's all
Literally
I'm
one.
saying. The names are irrelevant. The names are as relevant as their favorite food. The way we can prove they existed is by national testimony. I'll give you an example of this.
I just
For example,
want one.
yeah, the names at 70 AD are irrelevant. The
Alright.
name is just an object marker for the
You're not
individuals.
even
It's
you're not even
irrelevant.
actually like addressing me. Just
So let me explain.
Go way farther.
We
if
don't
you
need
want
to.
talk,
We don't
you
need to
can.
provide. We don't need to provide the names.
No,
The
you're
names
not.
are
You're not
irrelevant.
giving me any. You're not literally not even giving me a single source. So just go ahead.
Rabbinic, what's your name? Rabbinic reasoning. So I don't need to call you rabbinic reasoning. What's your name?
Yeah, that's fine. Go ahead.
Yeah. What's your name? So I don't need to refer to you as rabbinic reasoning. That.
Yeah.
I'm asking you a question. What is your name? So I don't have to refer to you as rabbinic reasoning.
Oreo.
All right, great, Oreo. So within this group, right, of pious, righteous Jews, right?
Yeah.
For one, this is what your entire claim hinges on. This is what the entire Khazari argument hinges on, right? That
No,
these
it's-
Jews
it's on-
were
it's on-
righteous
No, it's
and
it's on-
pious.
wrong.
right?
It's on a couple things. It's on mass number and the fact that the bigger the number, the more improbable it is for fabrication or falling into error in a generational sense. And it's on the fact that they were observed to be righteous, pious, and intellectual, which makes it even more improbable for fabrication to occur.
Perfectly fine.
There you
Now, what do you take to be a pious and a righteous Jew?
Yeah, so it's not an objective exact state, meaning that just in the same way you can observe someone to be righteous and pious by their actions, which you can agree, or intellectual based on interacting with them, each person observes the individuals that they've met. and
What
they
about
can-
moral teachings? Would you agree that this has some weight on whether or not you're a pious or righteous Jew?
Well, you mean if they teach like morality? Like, what are you asking? Like,
Oh, fucking hell. Yeah, does morality, right? Let's say that the X person who you're calling a pious and righteous Jew, etc., has all these different immoral teachings, right? Does this play into him being pious and righteous or not?
yeah, if he's he wouldn't be
Or does it
deemed
not
to
matter?
be he wouldn't be deemed to be righteous if he's teaching immoral teachings. That would
Alright, great.
contradict. Hold on, that would contradict the idea that he is righteous.
Great, that's fine. So Oreo.
Does that make sense?
Perfect. Perfect.
Yeah, perfect.
Now, can you
Okay.
tell me who it was who...
Which generation fabricated it? Go
so,
ahead. I'm waiting.
answer the
Which one?
question.
So
Calm
which
down.
generation fabricated
Stop
the tradition?
kvetching, calm down. It's going to
Can
be
you, can you
okay.
address the argument?
Calm down.
You
I
and
am.
Bryce are yet to address the argument.
Stop trying to pivot.
I'm not.
Calm
you're the one
down.
pivoting.
Stop panicking.
Which
Your
generation?
entire
AD
entire
to
Calm
argument
down.
your entire argument necessitates obviously that your national testimony argument is true. You know that, right?
Well,
So
we can
Oreo-
show it's true
And
based
so-
on the improbability.
No,
of that claim.
again, like first off, like
Don't let him
the
run,
whole
don't let him
asking
run,
about the
'cause
pious and the
gonna
pious
pin him down.
individual situation, whether it's regarded with morality
Yeah,
or
so
whether
can
it's
you- can you-
regarded with dogma, right?
Great.
All of these
So
things.
which generation?
You
which
admitted it's not
generation
even
fabricated
objective.
Tradition?
Just
would be
Oreo,
from to-
Oreo, wait.
Can you answer the
Oreo,
question?
wait.
You're
Can you
diverging
tell
from
me
the argument.
who compiled the Mishnah and wrote it down?
Yeah, the Mishnah was compiled by Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi.
Would you say he's a righteous and pious Jew?
Hold on a second. And in regards to the 70 elders themselves.
Okay, would you say that that Yehuda Hanasi, the prince of the Sanhedrin, is a righteous and pious Jew?
Yes. Him and the 70 members are righteous, pious, intellectual. Yes.
Oh, great. All right, let's go to Nidda 45a, line 9.
And
right?
again,
Siman 9.
hold on a second.
Hey, calm down. Don't run. Don't run.
No, I won't run. I
Don't
won't run.
panic.
I won't run.
Don't
I won't run.
panic.
No, wait.
Don't panic,
Wait
little
1
boy.
second. Wait 1 second.
Don't
Okay, now,
panic.
now you want to go to these insults, then you can go down that
This
route.
I
But-
didn't insult you at all yet. I said
Oh, no,
don't
you
panic.
did. Oh, no, you did.
I said don't panic. I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna read it, and you're gonna listen like a good boy.
Wait. I'm gonna let
I'm
you
gonna
all.
read it, and you're gonna listen like a good boy.
The
Calm down.
Mishnah, even if the Mishnah
Stop trying
itself
to
did not-
run.
Wait.
Stop trying to run.
I want to hear
I'm
what he
not-
says
I'm
about the
not
Mishnah
gonna
real
run.
quick. I want to hear what he says about the Mishnah
Wait
real
1
quick.
second.
What?
Even if the Mishnah was not written down, we can still prove this chain of oral transmission is true because it's not contingent on a written document. This is the whole point.
So
I
it's
hate
not
to break it to you,
contingent
buddy.
on the
All I'm
Talmud?
doing,
Hold on-
all I'm
hold on one
doing,
second. Hold on 1 second.
all I'm doing
Wait,
is
wait 1
questioning
second.
what a righteous and pious Jew is to you. You
Wait.
said he's a righteous and pious Jew. We're going to find out if that is the case. Is that
Wait.
okay?
Wait a second. Okay. So what I'm trying to explain something is very quickly, and we can get to that, and we will get to that. I'll let you address that entire point. What I'm saying is that my claim is not contingent upon the Mishnah, neither is it upon the Torah. We can prove this claim of national transmission is valid without a written document. This is my point. So you bringing the Mishnah is irrelevant to my point, and you are yet to address the argument. Which generation?
I'm gonna ask a question real
the
quick.
Tradition
Hold on,
or
wait.
B fell into error.
I'm going to ask a question real quick, and then we're gonna let Goy Father actually read the thing that he said he was gonna read, just to be clear. So my question that I wanted to ask real quick is: does the Talmud represent the tens of thousands that you're talking about? Does it represent that?
What do you mean represent?
The interpretation that you're claiming is something prior to 70 AD. Do you believe that the Talmud is something that properly represents the pious and intellectual Jewish interpretation that you're claiming?
So it depends what we're talking about. We're talking about falling into law. So let me explain what I mean by that. The Talmud is a recording of different debates on regards to what certain laws are. So if you go to what the law is, where the law is stamped, and it says this is the law, then yes, that represents the law that is concluded and affirmed by this mass number. However, if you go to a single opinion and try to use that to account for every single one, that's illogical. So, do you understand what I'm saying?
It's not a logical contradiction, but never mind.
Do you understand what the Talmud is, though? It's not like laws, like written laws. That's Shulchan Aruch. What it is, it's debates over centuries on what the meaning of certain laws are.
Okay, and so
if you're going to use it uncontextually,
is there a debate, right? Or the debates that are in the Talmud? Is there one person that is correct in all of these debates?
Well, they come to a final conclusion. Yes.
So it represents the pious interpretation of the Jews.
If we're looking at what the conclusion is, does that make sense?
Sure. All right. Go, Father.
Great. Thank you.
Go
okay.
ahead.
And by the way, once you read the verse, you're going to let me respond to what it means, because you Christians love taking it out of context. So go ahead, read it.
Yeah, we're going to see what these two different verses mean, and you can wiggle your way out of it. But anyway, as I was saying, as I was going to read, go to Saman 9, go to line 9, Bryce, and we're going to see. All right, the sages taught in the Bereishah, there was an incident involving a Gentile woman called Justine, the daughter of Asverus, son of Antoninus, a Roman emperor, who came before Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi. She said to him, "My teacher, at what age is a woman fit to marry?" And then the English adds on, i.e., what age is it appropriate for a woman to engage in intercourse, right? Which would therefore be the appropriate time to marry. Anyway, Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi said to her, "She must be at least 3 years and 1 day old." Very interesting. Now let's go to the second one, real quick. Avodah Zarah, 10b, line 4.
I'm going to address what you just said right there, okay?
You can respond to this one in a second. Just let me give you the other one.
No, we're going to go one at a time.
Okay, we'll go one by one. That's fine. Okay, go ahead.
So we're going to start with the first thing.
What's the before you answer? What's the other one? I want to get it set up.
Avodah Zarah.
You gotta say that shit slower, dude. I am an old man.
Avodah. So Avodah.
Okay.
Zarah.
All
right. 10b, line 4.
Thank you.
Yeah. So the Talmud here is defining, which is very important. It's defining what counts as intercourse. At what age does intercourse actually take place? And if you look, by the way, what it's saying is that from 3 and on, that is when intercourse actually takes place. That's when it's considered actual intercourse. From before 3, it's not actually intercourse because of a spiritual aspect to when a certain thing grows back. However, if you look at the age of marriage according to the Talmud, you go to Sanhedrin 75a, the age of marriage is 18 to 20. In fact, one who sleeps with a...
Which verse? Which line? In 75.
Yeah, I'll pull it up for you. One sec.
These are just ethics of the fathers, by the way, not the legal rulings. But anyway, let him carry on.
Pirkei Avot is literally like law. It's part of the law. Do you understand that? It's Mishnah. Okay, so first of all, it's granting the age when intercourse is actually happening, when intercourse is considered intercourse. From before that, it's not even considered intercourse. If you continue reading, by the way, you'll see that, and I can give you multiple verses, that if one who sleeps with a minor is put to death, is literally
that's begging the question, because you're assuming a minor doesn't apply to this. Now, if you go to Berachot 24:8-12, calm down, stop panicking.
No.
If you go to Berachot 24:8-12, it'll tell you that a minor is someone who is below 3 years and 1 day old. So don't panic, right? Calm down. That's what
wrong.
Ber-
So wait. So
Oh.
you're not understanding. So you're not understanding
off
what
you.
that verse. No, wait. One second. You're allowed to bring it up, but let me address what you said first of all. It's not saying you can marry a 3-year-old. If that was the case, when it literally says in the Talmud that if she is a minor and you sleep with her, you're put to death. So that wouldn't make any
Okay,
sense.
now
Number
let
one.
me ask you a question.
Wait, one second. Number
Oh my
two,
God.
according to Pirkei Avot, the age for marriage is 18, and that is the standard. Not only that, but if you look, it's very important on what this verse is talking about. If you continue reading down the verses, you will see that one who sleeps with a minor at this age is put to death. It concludes that. What you're doing is cherry picking a single part of it, taking it out of context, like you do with the oral Torah itself, and you conclude this is the law. That is not the law. Nowhere in the Talmud does it allow child marriage ever. In fact, the punishment is death. What it's defining here is when actual intercourse actually takes place. At what age is intercourse actually considered intercourse? Is it considered legally binding? Meaning,
Okay,
if
great.
someone-
We
if someone
understand.
were to
Great.
do-
That's fine.
You understand it? Great. Go ahead.
Calm down. Anyway, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
How did Yostene, right, this Gentile woman, how did she interpret what Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi said to her? Did she interpret it in a way where it said, no, this isn't allowed. We're just saying that this is when it would be considered intercourse.
It's not the interpretation. That literally is what it is. What you're doing is reading it
You're
out
not
of
answering the
context.
question. Do you understand the English language? I'm asking you, how
so-
did
see,
Yostene, how did Yostene interpret what Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi was saying?
Right. So let me answer. I'm not going to speak on behalf of her, but according to what we know through the oral system, that she understands that it's regarding the age of when intercourse actually takes place.
Okay, great. Now we're going to prove that wrong. Go to line
Wait,
10. Go to
wait,
line 10, Bryce, and I'm going to read it.
wait,
Stop
wait,
panicking. No, because you
wait.
keep trying
No,
you keep trying to ramble.
No,
You've
I'm
given
not-
your
I'm not trying
answer.
to run. I'm
Let
not
him
trying to run.
read.
Little
let him
boy,
read his
you've
section.
given your
have to-
answer.
Okay. So now
Let him
you're going
read
to
it.
ad hominems.
So
Okay.
stop trying to panic.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
if you're going to keep attacking,
Yo,
because
I'm
you
just
don't
gonna
understand
boot
basic
everybody
verses
if
in
we
the
don't
Talmud.
stop, bro. Chill. Go father. Read. Is it line
That's great.
10 of Avodah Zarah?
All right, great. This is
Avodah
how
Zarah.
Yosteni replied, by the way. Let's find out if Yosteni thought, he's just speaking about, when it's considered intercourse. Great.
Let's see. Read it. Go ahead.
Yosteni says,
read
at
it.
what age is she fit to become pregnant? That part's irrelevant, right? But anyway,
Yeah,
it
keep
goes
going. Keep
down.
going. Go down to the part where the person's put to death if they do that.
Calm down.
Go down.
Anyway, it goes down.
No.
and
Why are you going that? Go down. Go down.
What, bro? It's not
Where the
even in
person
this.
is
It's
put
not
to
even in this
death.
paragraph. You
The person
fucking
is
idiot.
put to death. You moron.
It's not even in this paragraph.
Learn
you
how to
moron.
read the next chapter without
Stop
getting things out of
panicking.
context. I
Stop
know you
panicking and
Christians
let me
love this,
read
by
the-
the way.
Let me read the line. Stop panicking.
It's in the same way if a Muslim took a verse.
Why don't you want me to read? Why don't you want me to read?
I'm glad with you reading. If you read it in
Oh,
context,
so let me read then.
stop stripping it of context like an
So
idiot.
stop kvetching and
That's
let
what
me
you've been
read.
doing. It's the same thing if I read your supposed
Stop
New Testament without
kvetching
context.
and let me read, boy.
Go ahead.
Good boy.
Let's see
Anyway,
if your savior
stop.
will save you from this. Go ahead.
So calm down before I slap you in your rabbis. Don't start
my God.
trying to
Clap-
do little
bye,
hints of
you might be
blaspheming
the
before I
worst
dig up
debater
your
I've
rabbis'
ever heard in
graves.
my
Calm
life.
down. Calm
By
down,
the
little
way.
guy. Stop panicking.
You are as dumb as your church is, by the way. And
Stop
you want to
panicking.
talk about pedophilia?
Stop
Look at the
panicking.
Catholic and Orthodox
Look at you
church.
trying to run now. Look at you.
You want to talk about that?
All right, I can't. I'm gonna get banned. Sorry, guys. It's not gonna work out. Love you, Goy Father, but that's not gonna work. That's those kind of words are gonna get me in trouble.
All right.
TikTok.
Just get him to let me read the line, because as soon as I was getting to it,
You can
he
have him
decided
come up
he
here. You can
had
come
to
back
start
up here.
manifesting.
He can come back up here if he wants.
Anyway, so the thing we were going through is, right, the previous line, Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi says to Yusteni, this Gentile woman,
Go ahead.
right, at 3 years and 1 day old, you are fit to be married, right? Buddy Boy over here says, oh no, it's just speaking about what age it would be considered intercourse.
No,
Right,
pull up
so
the
I
verse,
asked,
pull up the
well,
verse,
how
pull up the
did you?
verse.
I'm not done. Shut
Pull
up.
up
I'm
the
just giving a
verse.
recap.
Genius, pull up the verse. Stop
Calm
lying.
down. I'm just
Stop
giving
lying.
a recap. I'm not
Pull up the
engaging with
verse.
you. Shut up.
Pull up the verse.
Stop panicking.
Pull up the verse. Stop lying.
I have the verse. What are you on about?
You have the
Pull up
verse? Pull it
I'm
up.
reading
Pull it
it.
up then, mate. Mate, pull it up.
The words are coming out of my mouth. I'm reading the verse. What do you mean, pull it up? I'm
Pull it up.
literally
Pull
reading
it
it.
up.
Are you deaf?
Genius. Pull it up, genius. Pull it up.
W manifest. Anyway, so as I was saying, right? Buddy Boy over here says it's speaking about at what age it would be considered intercourse. Great. So I asked, how does Yusteni interpret what Rabbi Yehuda Nasi saying? We go down. It says, she said to him, I married when I was 6, and I gave birth a year later when I was 7. Woe for those 3 years between the age of 3 when I was fit for intercourse and the age of 6 when I was married, as I wasted those years in my father's house by not engaging in intercourse. So, smart guy, Justini doesn't interpret the way you think. Okay, smart guy.
Yeah.
She interprets it in a way where it's allowed for her to engage in intercourse, and she's pissed off that she didn't, and
Wrong.
she says that she wasted 3 years. So how does it feel to
Wrong.
lose?
So you're wrong. What you're doing is taking it once again out of context.
Oh,
And I'm gonna prove it to
mashallah.
you.
The context monster's come around again, guys. It's the context monster.
So, mashallah, are you done? Okay, good. Now you're about to get baked. So what it's referring to, which is very, very simple to understand, is that the time of the intercourse itself, which is important, is in that sphere of time when it's considered actual intercourse is that time. The non-Jew saying, which you are trying to address, that, well, I got married at this time and had the intercourse, is a response to the defining term of when the intercourse occurs. However, it is not saying this is legally allowed. If that was true, then according to the ruling in the Talmud, this is probably not a ruling, by the way, this is a opinion. According to the ruling in the Talmud, one who sleeps with a minor is put to death. So this has nothing to do with the ruling. She's responding to what he is addressing, which is that the age of actual intercourse, the age when intercourse becomes legally binding is 3. Does not mean it's okay. What it means is if this hard event were to take place, there would be all these repercussions. Like the Nida would not be able to come back. She would not retain her virginity status. There becomes all these problems. However, if it was before that age, she would still be able to be pure, which is the entire point. It is not allowing this to happen. Again, if it's the case where it's allowing it to happen, why does it say in Sanhedrin that a man who sleeps with a minor and defines what a minor is put to death? Please address what I said and stop lying. Because if you're going to lie on this, I can show you so many verses in your New Testament, by the way, that I can take out of context and spin without your Orthodox interpretation. So, if you're not going to address the fact that one who sleeps with a minor is put to death according to the law in the Talmud, and you're going to keep running and lying, then go ahead, I'm
Are
waiting.
you done, little boy?
Are you done, pagan? Let's go.
All right. So anyway,
Go ahead.
smart
Anyway,
guy, by the way, guys,
smart guy.
he
Go.
didn't respond to anything I said.
I
He
responded to
just
everything
went
you said.
right back.
Everything you said.
Calm down. Hashem's not going to save you. Calm down. Anyway,
I mean, you're fake messiahs.
he went right back in a circle, guys. Instead of responding to me proving, right, that Justini didn't interpret in that way whatsoever. But anyway, let's see what a minor is. Let's go to Berachot 24a12, right? It says, because there's different opinions in the Talmud of what a minor is.
No, what's
There's
the law?
below
What's the law,
3
James?
years and
No,
1 day
what's the law?
old.
What's
Stop
the law?
kvetching. Stop
What's the
kvetching.
law?
Calm down.
You said
What's
Calm
the law?
down.
You said Barakah.
Calm down.
Law? That's
Calm.
not the law. You guys don't
calm
even know basic
down.
Talmud. That's a tractate. What's the law?
Stop panicking.
What is the law? Are you actually like this law? What is the law
like Buddy Boy's
on
a
what a
track
minor
star.
is? I'm waiting.
It looks like Buddy Boy's a track star. and
what
you keep-
is the
you keep-
law?
You keep trying to run.
What is the law that's concluded by the Talmud? Let's wait.
Holy shit.
Holy shit, I'm a retard. Answer the question. What is the law?
Banned word on TikTok again.
Yeah, you can't say that.
You can't say.
But anyway, even if you go to other people like the Rambam, by the way, right, in the Mishnah Torah, right, in Forbidden Intercourse 12:10, right, he speaks about these similar situations, right, when an adult male engages in intercourse with a minor female. Let's see how he takes it. He says, if by contrast a Jewish male enters into S relations with a Gentile woman, when he does so intentionally, guess what it says, guys? She should be executed, not him. She. All right? And he was the one who
Yes.
engaged in it.
Do you know
I'm
why?
not
Do you
done.
know why?
Stop
Do you know why?
panicking. Let me finish because I'm not done. Then it goes on and says
going.
she is executed because she caused a Jew to sin. And then guess what it says, guys? This applies regardless of whether the Gentile woman was a minor or 3 years of age or an adult or whether it was an
So
animal.
again, and not only are you taking the Rambam out of context, but you're lying even about the
Oh,
law.
the context monster's back again, guys.
Oh yeah, God forbid we look at context. Classic Christian. God forbid. Okay, let's address exactly what you said. First of all, it's referring to a specific thing. He's saying from 3 and on because that is the legal category when intercourse is considered valid. which means this is considered intercourse from 3 and up. Not that it's okay, that this is considered intercourse. Number 2, what he's referring to is if you read, for example, Sadi Gaonin according to the Masorah, he's referring to acts of idolatry through sex, meaning very important. In the same way that we have in the Old Testament, in the Torah, in my paradigm, that God put to death many Gentile women that would go with Jewish men in the Navi and would sleep with them to commit acts of idolatry. The Rambam is referring to acts of sex that are done that get Jews to worship idols, as it was back then, as it was very much at that time as well. We can see the same thing with where the spear was brought through by Pinchas into the general who slept with a non-Jew because it caused him to serve idols. So not only are you taking what the Rambam said out of context, it's a specific idea and paradigm in regards to idol worship, as we see in Mishnah Torah. So, are you going to lie again, or are you going to address the fact that the legal consequence for sleeping with a minor, according to the Talmud, as clarified in Shulchan Aruch, is death? Death. Number 1. Number 2, the age for marriage, according to Pirkei Avot, is 18. 18 to 20 years old is the age for marriage. So, are you going to address that, or do I have to bring up how a lot of your priests actually do stuff with little kids?
Are you done?
You want to address that? So show me the law.
Are you done?
Show me the law that says you're allowed
to. Are you done?
Minor. I'm waiting.
Are you done?
Go ahead.
Good little boy. I guess you didn't get your mitzvah to bed today. Anyway, Shulchan Aruch Even HaEzer 37:1. Let's go. All right. All laws concerning the betrothal of a minor. Right. This is quite literally the start of this entire passage. Right. We go a little bit down. It says, where is it? Even if she was deaf, mute, or insane, the father betrothed her. Behold, she is a fully married woman. If she were 3 years old and 1 day, she may be betrothed by means of be'ah. Safaria literally gives you a footnote to what this means, by the way.
Sorry, just 1 second here. I got to use the bathroom real quick, guys. Any of the mods that are in the chat, if either of these guys start spurging out with crazy words, drop them, please.
Yeah, so again, this is not the age.
So I'm not done. Why are you kvetching? As soon as he leaves, you start kvetching.
I'm not kvetching. I'm addressing what you said.
Look how opportunistic these Jews are. This guy starts kvetching as soon as Bryce gets up to leave.
You don't have any context, by the way. So
look how opportunistic this guy is.
So what you said, first of all, was not in regards to when you're allowed to.
I'm not even done. I'm not even done yet. Fucking hell. I don't know who dropped him, but good on you anyway. Let me put forward the point, right? And maybe this guy can calm himself down a little bit because he's clearly, I don't know, cortisol spike.
Yeah, go ahead.
You know, he's a little bit mad. Maybe the PubMed article, can teach you why these guys are so dysgenic and absolute freaks. But anyway, as we were saying, right? Shulchan Aruch Even HaEzer 37:1 says, if she were 3 years and 1 day old, she may be betrothed by means of be'ah. Safaria tells you what be'ah means, by the way. The footnote is, if a man, in the presence of 2 competent witnesses, says to a woman, behold, you are consecrated to me with this act of intercourse, according to the law of Moses and Israel, and in the presence of the groom takes the bride into a private place for the purpose of kiddushin, holy, something holy, right? It's just marriage in this case. She will, upon completion of the act, which was intercourse, be betrothed with the consent of the father. If she is younger than this, if her father hands her over for intercourse, she is not betrothed. Right?
Yeah, so once again,
so it says the marriage is still valid, right? If she is 3 years and 1 day old. It doesn't say it can't stop kvetching. It doesn't say the guy gets put in a pack, right? It doesn't say anything to do with that. It says the marriage is still valid through intercourse.
So let me respond to that.
Try again.
So when it's saying it's valid through intercourse, it's very important to understand what that means. It's saying the act of intercourse was actually done. If she was before 3 years old, and literally any time before 3 years old, the act would not be considered intercourse, and therefore she would not lose her virginity status. She would still be considered a virgin, and she would not actually be an act of sex itself. However, it is not saying that you are allowed to do this. It is giving a hypothetical example that if one were to be with someone who is of that age, it would result in it being legally binding. It is not saying it is permitted. As we go back to Sanhedrin, where it says, one who sleeps with a minor, which it defines.
Wait, does it define it in the same tractate?
Does it define it in Sanhedrin? Yes.
No, in the same passage.
doesn't need to define it in the same passage. That's ridiculous.
Okay, so
And
if I go to
why
the
would it need to
Sanhedrin,
restate
so
a
if
law?
I go to the
No, no, no.
Sanhedrin, right, and I show you the same passages saying the exact same thing that's said in Shulchan Aruch Even Heiser 37:1,
No, let me give you the law. That's not the
37:1,
law.
right, where it says
No,
that you
hold
can
on, hold on.
betroth a minor
That's not
through
what it's
intercourse
saying.
who's 3 years and 1 day old. I'm confused. Is this a clear P or not P? Or
Yeah, so this is not.
or are you just disagreeing with the idea of
No,
what a minor is in
I'm
this
not
tractate?
disagreeing. This is why everyone in Shulchan Aruch, which is actually the law derived from the Talmud, unanimously agrees upon that before, if it's a minor, they're put to death, and that's why the Talmud says
great,
that.
great. Can we
No,
test that?
One second. Yes. If you want to check, I'll let you right now that if you sleep with a minor, that if you can find me one halachic authoritative body that says you're allowed to sleep with a minor, you win. Go ahead. Find me one halachic authoritative body that says this. I will
Well,
wait.
that's a straw man.
No, it's not a straw man. Find me one.
Well, let me tell you how. Let me tell you how.
Making claims about history, usually you do have to show some kind of writing of somebody doing that.
Someone doing that.
Yeah. I mean, like when we talked
I already
earlier,
did.
you completely have like said that that's irrelevant.
No,
when I asked for something
that example that wasn't a real event. It was giving an example that the marriage itself would be legally binding. The act itself is legally binding. Not that the act is okay. If it was okay, how can it say in Sanhedrin that one who does so is put to death as a law? Once again, by the way, this opinion, by the way, is not the law, by the way. It's important to understand. And also the opinion is not agreeing and allowing the act. What it's saying is if the act is done, it's considered legally intercourse, which would fall under certain categories of things that have to be done. She would lose her virginity status, and the needed period would have to go through, and there'd be a lot of issues in regard to what happens to
and
her
the
as a
betrothal
woman.
price would be 2 times more. We get it, right? Anyway,
hold on.
all right. So what you said is if it's 3 years and 1 day old, the guy has to be put to unalivement, right? But let's read the second line down, right? In Shulchan Aruch, I'm not done. Stop kvetching.
You're not listening to what I
Stop
said.
kvetching.
You're not
Calm
listening.
yourself down, little boy.
All you're
Kvetching.
doing is
I'm going to respond to
isolating
this,
verses.
and then I'm going to respond to the part where you tried to say the first situation I brought up with Yehuda Hanassi didn't actually happen, and it's just an example, right? We're going to bring up more. We're going to bring up more instances.
I never said that.
Calm down.
Non-Jew, I never said that. I never said that.
You just said that. You just said that these aren't real
didn't.
events. You said
No,
they're
I
not real
didn't.
events. They're used as examples. That's
Hold on one
exactly what you
second.
said. So stop kvetching.
Stop strawmanning me. I said
That's
an
not
example.
strawman. You said these are real examples.
Wrong.
Oh,
I
real
said an
events, sorry.
example. I said an example you just provided me. That itself was an example that you derived from Safaria of it being legally binding. The events with the non-Jew coming to Rabbi Yehuda Hanassi, I agree, took place. Nowhere in there does it allow child marriage. This is what you don't understand. This is why you keep diverging. No halachic law is clear in the Talmud. Anyone who sleeps with a minor is put to death.
Okay, great. We're testing that.
Stop.
You just want to kvetch.
Stop. So if the law says anyone who sleeps with a
You've
minor is
already
put to
said
death,
this.
it's done. That's it. You're done. You're cooked.
All right,
Find me
great.
where-
So let's see
find
if
me
that's
by
the case.
any
Let's see if that's the
halachic
case.
body-
Let's see if that's the
find me by
case.
any
Stop
halachic body-
kvetching.
No, I'm waiting.
Stop panicking.
Find me
Stop
any
panicking. You've already said this.
Stop.
Stop repeating yourself. Stop
Find me
panicking.
any halachic body that says you can sleep with a child. Go ahead. I'm waiting.
Great.
One.
Right.
I'm waiting.
We're in the same position here. Shulchan
Yeah, go
Aruch
ahead.
Evan Hazar 37:1, right? We've already read that part, but he
going to it.
says the punishment for said thing is unalivement of the guy. Okay, if that's simply the case, then how come the marriage contract is still valid if you're supposed to unalive the guy? Then we go to line 2 and it says,
get.
when I'm not done, stop kvetching. Calm yourself down, little boy.
Keep going.
Good
Go
boy.
ahead.
Anyway, then we go down to line 2, and it says, when the daughter comes of age, her father has no control over her, and behold, she is like any other woman that are not betrothed except by their own will. Right? Further down, it speaks of how, if she comes of age, she can annul the marriage. How are you annulling a marriage with a fucking dead guy?
Yeah, so I'll explain. So in
A
Judaism,
guy that was supposed to be unalived as soon as he tried to do the marriage. How are you doing that, smart guy?
I'll explain. So in Judaism, the way that divorce can happen, this is even according to the Torah, even the exact verse in the Torah, is through a get, which means the husband has to give a divorce document, he has to give it over, And through the get that is given, the divorce can take place. If the person is dead or put to death without the get being given, you are left in a circumstance where the get, the divorce document itself, was never done. So the divorce itself was never separated, which would require her to come of age to do so. So this is an halachic category you're not understanding. It's in regards to a get being given. So it's important to understand, according to the Torah, for divorce to take place, a get has to be given by the male. If the guy is dead before the get is given, she has to wait till she is older to then separate from the act itself. Because the act of intercourse itself, if the woman hypothetically was at the age, would be legally binding. So I'm trying to get you to understand. Does not mean it was okay. It was a terrible, sinful act, but it means that it's legally binding. That's what you don't understand. Again, you don't understand rabbinic law, you don't know the Talmud, so you don't understand what these terms mean. The term is not saying that it's allowed. It's saying it has legal consequences.
Are you done?
So there has to be a get that would be given. If you don't understand that, then there's nothing I can do about that. That's just you're not understanding what that means.
Are you done? All right, great. Show me in Evan Heiser 37, right, where it says that the husband here is actually dead, right, and he's not actually alive. Can you show me that? Oh no.
Yeah, I don't need to show you that exact verse. That's ridiculous. Again, show me.
So how do we know contextually, right? How do we know contextually in this case when it's speaking about how the girl, when she comes of age, can annul this marriage, right? That the husband is actually dead. How do we know that? So how do we know that's necessarily the case?
Great. So how we know is a couple ways, because we can not only parallel other tractates that discuss the same thing, but we look according to what the law says itself. Meaning that opinion is not the law. It is not the put in law. That's what you don't understand. It's an opinion on regards to if this event takes place. We have to look at what the law stam says. What is the law according to the Talmud? What is the concluded law? What you're trying to do is it's like again, if I was going to, I'll give you an example. If I was going to the Orthodox Church and I found you a Orthodox saint, right, that or a church father that said the angel of the Lord is not God. If I did that, you would say to me, okay, but he fell into error either. Like that Orthodox church father fell into error. And we have the majority that say otherwise. In the same way I can say this opinion right here, not only I can say it's a fact. The opinion right here is not the actual law itself. Or nowhere does it justify the marriage itself. The marriage is not justified. That's why the person is put to death.
I don't know if that was just an example, but none of the fathers say that. And if you appeal to St. Augustine, that's not going to be good. St. Augustine doesn't say that. You're quoting you're trying to quote St. Augustine.
So I can show you multiple fathers, but again, this is just an example I gave.
Get to the after. We're
not trying to go down.
You let me know when you're done, man.
It's in the same way if I misquoted someone from the church or anything. I took it out of context. I didn't look what the actual law said, and I appealed to it. It's ridiculous. You not understanding what the Talmud is, which is a series of debates regarding what the law is irrelevant to me. Where does it say anywhere in the Talmud, in the actual law itself, show me any posek, any law-binding agreement that has been instituted that you are allowed to sleep with the minor? Because the punishment is death. It is literally death.
All right, last point, and then I'm going to move on because
answer the question. Stream. I'm waiting. The punishment is death, and I will show you in Sanhedrin where it literally describes if one does so, he is put to death after being lashed multiple times and tortured. So please go ahead.
Are you done? All right, anyway. So, for one, this guy thinks I'm quoting the Talmud, right? When I was quoting the Talmud before, this guy says, what about the Shulchan Aruch? That's the law. I go to the Shulchan Aruch, he says, what about the Talmud? That's the law. This guy's a flip-flopper. He don't know where he's going. He don't know what day of the week it is. This guy's clueless. Anyway, the start of the passage is all the laws concerning the betrothal of a minor. Not all the opinions concerning the betrothal of a minor. It's all the laws concerning the betrothal of a minor. Smart guy. So, you're wrong. You lost.
No, I'm not.
It's a bad day in the office for you, little guy.
So you're wrong. So when it says,
I notice how I've been quoting all these different passages. He hasn't quoted one.
So not only are you lying about what you just said, but once again, by the way, it's something.
Where's the lie, by the way? Where's the lie?
Yeah, the lie is the fact that it's a law that you can sleep with a woman at 3 years old, and that is.
Did you listen to what I just said?
Oh, I heard what you said. The lie.
So what did I say? Go ahead, Stillman. What did I say?
Yeah, what you said is that it says here these are the laws of betrothal. Now what you don't understand. Yes, I agree with that. That's not my contention.
So I didn't lie, right?
No, you did lie.
MashaAllah, Baruch Hashem, ya Habibi.
Baruch Hashem. That's not my contention. The contention is you don't understand what the verse is saying. It's not allowing the marriage to be at that age. What it is saying is that it becomes legally binding at that age, which is why she's to give a divorce document later. It becomes a legally binding act. Again, I'm going to say this one more time. If that were to be true, that they was allowed for marriage at 3, How does it say that one who does so in Sanhedrin, as the legally binding law, is put to death after multiple lashes? Please explain. Go ahead. I'm waiting for you to address that, by the way. You won't address that. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm waiting for you to prove it. Also, in the Sanhedrin,
Address what I said. Address what I said. Stop
yeah,
running.
I am. You want
Address
to calm down,
exactly
little
what I
guy?
said. Which posek in the
Are
Talmud
you all right, mate?
allows child marriage?
Are you all right there, buddy?
All right,
Is
answer
everything
that.
all right
Answer,
there, man? Stop having a cortisol spike and let me
answer
respond.
that.
I'm waiting,
Answer
I'm
that,
waiting.
and then I'm gonna move on because like.
Yeah, answer exactly what I said. Go ahead.
Guys panicking all over the place. For
I'm not
one,
panicking. I want you to answer what I said. You took
hello,
things out of context.
words are coming
Answer.
out of my mouth. I don't know if you've noticed, mate, but
Yeah,
words
yeah,
are coming out of my mouth of me responding to you. I don't know if
but
you've
not
noticed
logic,
that.
but not
But
logic.
anyway,
Go
as
ahead.
I was
Answer the
saying
question.
before
Answer what I said.
Shlomo responded, right?
Answer what I said.
As I was saying, calm
waiting.
down, Shlomo.
You're not going to run.
Calm
Answer
down.
what I said.
Shlomo, calm down. Let me respond. Calm down.
Answer what I said.
As I was saying, you would have to show me in the Sanhedrin that this refers to Gentile children because the Rambam would disagree. You would have to show me, right?
I never said it
that
was
when
Gentile
it's co-
children.
That's when it's
When did I say
speaking-
that? What? When did I say that?
So it's only referring to Jewish children, correct?
No, that's not what I'm
So
saying.
it's referring to Gentile children.
No, it's referring to all.
So who the
stuff.
fuck is it referring to? Aliens?
It's
You fucking
referring
idiot.
to. It's
Who's it
referring
referring to, smart guy?
It's referring
Aliens?
to. It's
Dogs?
referring. It's
Cats?
referring to
Cows?
any child that is.
Who's it
clear-
referring to?
Yeah, you done?
All right, that was good enough. I'm done. I can't listen to that anymore. I'm sorry. I can't. No more oy vey shit, bro. No more oy vey shit. I'm done. I can't do it anymore. It's gonna get me banned. That was something. We are oying all over the vey today, bro. I tell you what. Holy moly.
Yo, what's up, bro?
What's up, man?
What's up? I'm not a Christian just because I haven't seen any good reason to accept it.
Okay. I mean, what do you currently believe?
I'm probably atheist, agnostic, something like that.
Okay. Well, I guess the thing that I'm asking you is what would you have to see or discover in order for you to actually become a Christian? So well, actually, first, before I try to do this, I have a question for you. Is it a moral thing?
I mean, probably a little bit, but not really.
Well, let me put it like this. If I was able to prove to you right now with full certainty that Jesus Christ is your Lord and Savior and he died for your sins, would you change your moral compass for him?
Oh yeah, because he's the objective truth there or whatever. Yeah.
Okay. I was just curious, man. Because sometimes I ask people that and then they're like, no. And then I'm like, well, why am I talking to you? I'm telling you, even if I prove it to you, you're going to reject it anyway. What's the point? You know what I mean? But anyway. So are you just asking me to provide you with an argument for God or what?
I mean, yeah, that works. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm feeling kind of chill today. So, honestly, I'm probably going to just utilize the argument from motion. Do you have an issue with it?
I'm not familiar.
Okay. So the argument from motion is pretty much an argument that shows that there has to be a first mover that is fully actual, right? And then we can also then debate about why this has to then therefore be the Trinity, why this then therefore has to be Christianity, just in general. Let me pull up my notes here real quick. Because I want to read it and I don't want to straw man it. I don't use it too often. Yeah, the first mover told the Israelites to cut off their dick skins. Nice. Yeah, no, dude. Okay. So, it's very simple. Okay? And then if this is not something that is working or whatever, we could use something else like divine conceptualism, or if you really want to talk about it, we could use tag. Doesn't matter. But I do believe that there's plenty of good philosophical arguments that actually necessitate God's existence. Right? So, premise one is that some things in the world are in motion. So motion means change, right? Going from potentiality to actuality.
Sure.
Okay. Premise 2, whatever is moved by something else. So something cannot move itself from potential to actual. Because potential is something that's non-being, and then something that's actual is in being. So something cannot basically move itself. Because it would have to go from itself already being non-being to being.
Yeah, why can't that happen?
Why can't that happen?
The non-being to being thing.
Because if something is fully potential, meaning that it doesn't exist, how can itself become existence if it doesn't already exist?
Well, I don't know how it would. I don't know the means in which it would go to do it.
Let me put it like this: if
you said
something,
it can't
because
happen,
I'm saying
so-
that things can't move themselves. So, for example, we'll say my mouse, right? Something provided motion in some way, shape, or form to cause this mouse to be where it's at and look the way it is, right? Before all of that happened, this mouse did not exist at all. Would you agree?
Yeah, look, I agree with that principle.
Yeah.
Like maybe prima facie. But
Yeah, so
I
then
don't
you
think
would have
it's
to
like
say
a
that this
universal
thing can't
principle.
move it. This thing can't move itself. It cannot go from it non-existing to itself becoming coming into existence, right? It has to be moved by something to become into existence.
Yeah, like I would agree with it as like a general rule. But like you're saying, like it can't. I would assume that's like universal, or else
Yes, I
beat
would
the
say
whole
that.
God
I would
argument.
say that it makes absolutely no sense. Well, I would say that it's actually impossible for something to go from potential to actual if there is nothing that's already actual to provide it with motion. Yes, I would say that that's impossible.
Under what modality would that be?
What do you mean by modality? Are you just referring to like a modal scope? What do you mean?
Yeah, modal scope.
I mean, like, I'm not really invoking anything specifically. I'm talking about that in all possible worlds, just generally.
I'm just not sure what like the.
You got to kill the camera, bro. You're not supposed to let it just yell at you. I hear the camera speaking in mark graders.
Oh shit! Yeah, my bad. I didn't know it was that loud. I'll turn it down.
No, you're good. I was just messing with you. So, yeah, no, I'm just talking about in a general sense of all possible worlds. That if something is invoked as potential, that it cannot become actual without there being something that's already actual.
I mean, I'm just
Because
not
it doesn't
really
exist.
convinced.
So you're saying that it's possible for something to go from potential to actual without there being something already actual prior to that. That doesn't
Yeah, like, I
that
think
doesn't
it's
even work in the
possible.
atheist view.
Oh, that's just not true. I mean, atheism doesn't have any other entailments. Like that doesn't have any
I mean, it
other
does.
entailments.
So,
other
like,
than-
if we move that backwards, right, to like, for example, the Big Bang or something like that, there was something in some way, shape, or form that existed to cause it, right?
atheism doesn't make any claims about the Big Bang.
I didn't say it did, but you
I
affirm
don't
the
know what
Big
you're bringing up
Bang
the Big
as
Bang.
the start
We're
of the
just
universe.
talking. We're just the Big Bang's not the start of the universe, but like,
Okay,
even if it
so
was,
then what is?
but I don't know if the universe had a start.
Okay, so the Big Bang, by the way, doesn't assume that the universe had a start. When I say the start of the universe, because some people also
The
affirm
observable
Big Crunch and
universe.
Big Bang and Big Crunch. So obviously, like, some people believe that things are eventually all going to come together and that Big Bang happens again and then go back again, right? So I know that a lot of you guys are eternal universe people, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really hold to like any views on like the start of the universe or anything.
You said what?
I don't really hold to any views on like the start of the universe.
You just
But
don't.
like,
You
look,
just,
atheism doesn't have any entailments other than the God doesn't exist. Like that's the only. Like, granted, atheism's true. The only thing that would be true about the universe as a consequence would be that God doesn't exist.
and would you say that it's logically possible for God to exist?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Well,
so-
well, what do you think God is? I assume it's just gonna be a standard definition, but
Yeah, I mean, I could just use like the standard definition of just a maximally great being.
yeah, sure, it's possible.
Okay. And so you're saying that currently within your own worldview that there's not enough evidence to suggest a maximally great being exists?
Yeah.
What are you using to determine what is enough evidence and what is not?
Well, it's just my intuitions. I don't think that I can give like a clear cut line. It's really just, hey, is it in accordance with my intuitions? It is, then I'll just like concede the argument or something.
So it's more
Yeah.
of just a subjective preference of evidence. You don't
Well,
believe that
intuitions
there's like
aren't
a.
preferences, but
I mean,
I mean, it
intuition.
is.
Intuition definitely. It's an intrinsic preference. It's something that you intrinsically are utilizing that you may not be able to externally justify. Maybe.
No. Intuit. Okay, maybe when you say intuition, you mean something different. But when I say intuition, all I mean
Gut
is
feeling.
like yeah, it's like a perception of like right or wrong or like true or false, something like that.
Yes, but in order to be able to actually justify the usage of things, like knowing that things are true and false and right or wrong, that you have, would you believe that you would have to be able to have some kind of justificatory path to actually provide that information to me? Like being able to actually have that, because you're saying intuition, right? But different people have different ways that they actually utilize intuition. People have different ways that they actually come to conclusions of things based off of their intuition. So it's not like every single person shares the same, dare I say the word, modality of intuition. So
Oh
I'm
yeah,
asking, so your
I
worldview
agree
would
that
be
they don't have the
subjective
same.
entirely on truth bearing.
Well, I don't really see how that follows. I would just say that the way in which I'm convinced is when you kind of adhere to these intuitions, right? That's how like we're all kind of convinced. Whether our
Yes.
intuitions are the same, but
But
that's like how
your
we're all
intuitions,
convinced.
though, are developed by things like epistemology. You agree?
Not
Study
really.
of
I think
knowledge.
they're. Well, yeah, I know epistemologies. I'm just saying like maybe that's like to some degree like how they're developed.
Because here's the problem, right? You're saying that this is simply just intuition, but it's not simply just intuition. You have certain things that you believe can happen and can't happen. It's not solely based off an intuition. It's based off of a worldview that you possess that you just don't want to say you possess.
No. Like that all like stems down and boils down to my intuition. So when I say like, hey, I think it's possible God exists, it's assuming we're sort of like logically speaking, given like logical modality, like I would just like accept like standard logic, given my intuitions, the current state of affairs. Like
Yeah, the current state of affairs, that right there. That is the thing that matters. Right? When you say the current
yeah, but
state of
that's in
affairs,
virtue of
right?
my
That's something.
intuitions. Had my intuitions not exist, that wouldn't matter.
I understand that. But when you're saying are in the current state of affairs, obviously you're already granting yourself or giving yourself a state of affairs, right? That there is a state of affairs in the first place, and that you share a position in the state of affairs, and that so there's an identity, there's all of these different types of things, all these categories, right?
Yeah, I mean
I'm asking you that if you're simply just basing it off of intuition, I would say that that's not true, because you're utilizing other things that you affirm in your own worldview to determine that God is not real, rather than simply just intuition. I think that that's ridiculous. So, for example, would you say that someone's intuition is flawed if they come to the conclusion by their intuition that God is real?
Well, I think flaw. Like I don't know because I don't know if God exists. Like had I knew God didn't exist, they did that, then sure. But I don't know if God exists or not.
Okay, so then you just
I got like also you said like I come
the
to
thing that
conclusions
grounds
about
your
God not
worldview in
existing. I don't think there's any arguments against God.
well, you said that the only thing that your worldview holds to is that God does not exist, right? Is that not
Well, I
your
said that's
worldview?
what atheism.
Okay,
I
so
said that's
then
an
you're not an
entailment of
atheist.
atheism. I said I'm more of an agnostic.
Okay, so then you're not an atheist, you're just agnostic.
Yeah.
Okay, so if your worldview is simply just based off of the method of not knowing, right? What is the thing that you're using to determine that you go from a state of not knowing
Well,
to knowing something?
agnosticism isn't a worldview; it's the absence of one.
You have a worldview, bro. Like
No,
that's
no, no.
there's
I
no
have a
such
worldview,
thing
but
as
I'm
theory
saying
neutral evidence.
agnosticism. No. Look. I'm saying the agnosticism on a proposition isn't a worldview in and of itself. Like there can be,
Okay, so then what
like
would be
there
your
can be
worldview to determine?
agnosticism about something, but you could still have worldviews that aren't like a part of it. Like you could be agnostic on how many atoms are in the universe, but you can still have like worldviews on other things. So all I'm saying is here I'm agnostic, right?
Okay, so if I simply just make the proposition,
Like I do
God
have
is,
like worldviews about other things in other
yeah,
places.
if I simply just make a claim or a proposition. If I say God is real, what are you going to ask me for?
Yeah, ask you for an argument.
In what sense?
Like probably just like a standard sense, like a deductive or inductive or even abductive argument. That's what you're
So
asking.
any argument at all? I mean, like those are the three categories of argumentation.
Well, any argument that would be sound for deductive arguments, any argument that's probability raising for inductive arguments, and then arguments that show like theism might be that best explanation for something for abductive arguments.
Inductive reasons as in just like consistency, right? Just based off of consistency or what?
Well, inductive arguments are just arguments.
No,
that,
I know
like,
generally
show
what
that-
inductive arguments is. I said, are you using it inductively just for consistency? Because that something consistently occurs, therefore it always occurs inductively?
Well, I mean, you can. There's different inductive
I
like,
know.
models
That's
you
what
can use. Like you could use frequentism, you can use Bayes theorem. It doesn't matter what you use.
They're all right.
Yeah, like I accept Bayes theorem. I accept frequentism. You're asking.
Yeah, but I mean, obviously, do you believe that some of these have different probabilities of being true than others?
Sure.
Okay. So then your worldview is something that has in some way, shape, or form a criteria for either true or false or right and wrong, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So then what is the criteria that you use to determine that something is true?
Yeah, I already told you. It's just my intuitions, and then like axioms I made. On top of those.
Do other people have intuition that come to different conclusions than you?
Yeah, the argument is
Can you
supposed to be convincing me,
Okay.
not Billy Bob Joe down the street, right?
No, that's not what I'm trying to say. The way that you're positing your own worldview right now, can you tell me one difference between you and a solipsist now?
I don't know. I believe in objective reality.
So do solipsists. That's not the issue. It's just that the only thing that you can actually trust is in your mind. You have to trust that there is a world in your mind. Can you tell me a difference between you and a solipsist?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I believe,
Because
like,
solipsism
I don't know, I
is
could just say, like-
extremely absurd, but like the way that you posit your own worldview is solipsist.
well, yeah, I think the only thing you can trust is your mind. I don't think you trust outside things.
So you're actually a solipsist. You just hold straight up to just solipsism.
Sure, I don't get the issue.
You don't get the issue? I mean, how, like...
Yeah, I don't
So-
think you. I think the only type of things you can trust are the type
Okay.
of things that give information.
Here's
or like
where it starts
not give
now.
information.
How do you know that? The only thing that you
Let's
can
just say I
trust is
don't.
in your
Let's
mind.
just-
No.
Yeah.
If you're saying that the only thing that you can trust is in your mind, it's a proposition. How do you know that to be the case? Is that objectively the case?
Yeah. Let's just say I don't.
What do you mean? Let's just say you don't. So then you just don't know anything.
Okay, I don't know anything. How do we get to God exist?
Okay. I mean, like, if you're just going to concede that knowledge is impossible in your worldview, then, like, I don't know what else to say to you. I'm glad that you concede that knowledge is impossible
Dude,
in your
look,
worldview.
I don't actually hold like 90% of what I'm saying. I'm just trying
No,
to
well,
hold
then
this
I don't
for the
really
sake of
care.
art.
That's not how debating
Dude,
works.
I asked you to give an argument, and then on P2 you just kind of started asking me questions, which isn't even how an argument's supposed to go.
Yeah, no.
When I asked for justification, you just went on this like monologue
Yeah,
tree.
so I started utilizing.
and I've just been kind of saying yes and no to what you're saying
something called
randomly.
the transcendental argument specifically, where we talk about how we justify transcendental categories.
So P2 didn't work, so you're just going to pivot to another argument.
What do you mean P2? I didn't. What,
P2 of the argument for motion. remember?
You agreed with P2 on the argument for motion, but then you got
That's
me
just-
curious on
that's
the
just-
way that
that's
you
just
attempted to say that
not-
wasn't the
just-
case.
Wait, I didn't even agree with P2. I said I didn't agree with it as a universal claim. I said it was a prima facie rule.
Yeah, and when you said that you didn't agree with it as a
So I did. Wait,
universal
so
claim,
did I or did I not agree with P2?
you agreed with it as a general rule, as if verbatimly what came out of your mouth.
Oh, okay. So was P2 a universal claim?
I would say yes.
Okay, so then I didn't agree to P2, right?
Well, I mean, when I'm saying that you agreed with it, that's why we started talking about the argument itself when you disagreed with it on a universal level. That's the entire point.
Wait, so just to be clear, you said I affirmed P2,
What's
and then you
going
said I
on with
didn't
this?
after, right?
What's going on with this rhetoric maxing now, bro? Like, chill out.
Bro,
I'm trying to tell you
Maxing,
the
you've been
whole
asking me
point. The whole
questions the whole
point
time,
of
and
why
then
we
when I
started
asked what's the issue with
arguing.
solipsism, you're
The whole
like,
point of why we
"Oh, are you
started
serious?"
arguing.
That's
The
rhetoric
whole
right there.
point.
So don't use
The
rhetoric and
whole.
then like get mad at me for
Dude,
using it.
stop. The whole point as to why we started arguing in the first place outside of the syllogism was because of the fact that obviously you had an issue with premise 2. I did not say that you fully accepted it as in we could move on to premise 3. I said that you accepted it generally. I was okay with that. Okay, but I know obviously that you rejected it on a universal level because you had said that verbatimly during our conversation, which is why I started asking you questions about it.
Yeah. Why are we asking questions when you're supposed to be giving arguments?
I was trying to argue with you about why holding your position for P2 is ridiculous. That's how you do a syllogism.
Okay.
You know that, right?
Wait, that's just not true.
So if you just reject P2, I don't have to, like, I can just.
Wait, I didn't.
I'm
Wait,
just
I
screwed?
didn't. Wait, I didn't reject P2, by the way.
Oh, okay, yeah, I'm not doing this. We're not doing this. He didn't accept P2, but he also didn't reject P2. Yeah, we're not doing that. We're not doing none of that today. We started debating about P2 on purpose because of the fact that you said, I don't see how that's the case. That's why we debated for the past 30 minutes. Like, if you're just gonna stay agnostic about everything, and then for the sake of the argument, apparently, you just said, screw it. Yeah, sure, I can't know anything. Now what? Okay, thank you. Like, that's literally the whole point of my argument. He said his position he was running is not his own. It's in his bio. Well, then, yeah, it's just people LARPing. I legit don't care people are LARPing. Atheists love to LARP. It's a form of dishonesty. What's up?
Not much. How you doing?
I'm hanging out, man. What's going on?
I was hoping to get your interpretation of a couple of verses.
1 second. I'll help you out with that in just a second. But
Perfect.
He was just agnostic on P2. Do you not understand how an argument works? Sheik Nitro? I mean, I don't know if you're like going against me right now or whatever. But if somebody's agnostic on P2, meaning that they're not convinced of P2 and maybe they haven't formally rejected it, that was the whole point as to why we started arguing, Nitro, about P2. We started arguing about how he comes to the conclusion that apparently that is not something that can be universally applied. Then it kind of bled into epistemology and tag. That's how argumentation works, because then his justifications for certain things was intuition. That's all you got to do. That's how you argue. Sorry, go ahead, Free.
Oh, no worries. I was hoping to get your interpretation of Isaiah 14 12 through 14. There's 5 I wills in there that I believe that Jesus achieved.
Isaiah 14 what?
12 through 14.
So Isaiah chapter 14, verses 12 through 14?
Verse 12 through 14. Yeah, sorry. I guess I should have said it like that.
Okay. How you have fallen from heaven, morning star, son of the dawn. You have been cast down to the earth, who once laid low the nations. You said in your heart, I will ascend to the heavens. I will raise my throne above the stars of God. I will sit enthroned on the mount of assembly, on the utmost heights of Mount Zephon. I will ascend to the tops of the clouds, and I will make myself like the Most High. So you think that this is something that's referring to Jesus then?
I'm not really too worried about whether or not Jesus is in reference. My concern is that Jesus would check every box if that I will was a chore list.
I mean, well, first off, it's not a chore list. So that's number one. And second off, this is literally the entire point of why there's this thing called the Antichrist. why the Antichrist exists in the first place. It's going to literally do the exact same thing that Jesus was, right? Jesus is going to actually apply to all these in the proper true sense. So then something is going to do this. Something believes in this that is a creature in some way, shape, or form and wants to be this, right? So there's a Christ and then there's an Antichrist. So the Antichrist is something that is imperfectly trying to be like Christ, but obviously moving away from God, as it says, where it says, I will make myself like the Most High, right? I will raise my throne above the stars of God, right? My throne. When he says my throne, first off, Jesus doesn't fit that criteria because Jesus sits at the right hand of the Father. So that's a different system. This person is saying my throne. He wants to be the one in the seat of the Father. Jesus does not apply to that. He submits to the Father. So he's actually the true understanding of whatever that verse would, whatever this verse is applying to Satan. He's the submission. Jesus is the submission to God. Satan is the one that says, no, I'm going to take his position from him. That's like the entire point. Jesus doesn't do that. I mean,
Okay,
he
well,
even quotes Daniel 7 where
and
it's
this is-
prophesied.
I still think that if you look at this list as like the five, if you take this as prophetical speech, that's the only person in the Bible that could successfully or say that they successfully achieved all five of these I wills would be Jesus. There's no other person that even comes close.
Well, I mean,
in the
obviously,
Bible.
we believe
and
that
as far
Satan
as you
is the
say
one
with
that
like that,
applies
I
to
will
it.
set my
Satan applies to
my
all of them.
throne on high. That doesn't say that I will take the seat of God.
That my throne above the stars of God, I will sit enthroned on the Mount of Assembly, on the utmost heights of Mount Zaphon. He's literally ascending. He's exalting himself to the highest peak, highest position possible. I will ascend above the tops of the clouds. I will make myself like the Most High.
How many times in the Bible is it stated that Jesus comes down on clouds?
Many different times. It happens in the Old Testament with Daniel and Isaiah, or not Isaiah, sorry, mostly in Daniel. And then it happens multiple times, obviously,
so the
like
I
when
will
Christ
ascend
is
above.
being interrogated by the Jews before his crucifixion. Because Jesus says it himself that he's going to descend from the clouds.
So that I will ascend above the heights of the clouds, and I have a different reading than you, so I apologize. But that I will, Jesus would check that box, correct?
Also, by the way, where it says fallen from heaven, right, that's not what occurred with Christ. I mean, like he said that he came from his Father, right? Being fallen from heaven in the context of any kind of Old Testament, right? Being fallen from heaven means that you were casted out of it.
You could also say in place of fallen, descended.
No, that's not how you actually apply Hebrew words, right? There's a difference in the way that things are used contextually, specifically for theology.
Can you give me the two Hebrew words so I can? I don't know Hebrew, and I don't even know the original.
Yeah, let's
scripture. I just know how it reads in English.
Hold on.
And to be perfectly clear, this is exactly why I like talking about these things, because I don't know the Hebrew.
No, it's okay.
And I'd be too left-footed if I tried to interpret it or approach it myself.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So we have it right here in the... So this right here, I'm going to butcher this because I'm really bad at actually pronouncing this stuff, but Napa Leta, I think that's how you say that. You can see that in the Bible, this term fallen only occurs in that section, right, that we're talking about, Isaiah 14:12, and it also occurs in 2 Samuel 3:34, where it says, the wicked you have fallen, and all men fellest thou, and all the people, men wicked, have fallen again, right? Like, well, obviously these are just two different English translations of that being used. But this is the entire point. is that the only time that it's ever used is against something that's wicked. So contextually speaking, if it uses that word in Isaiah 14:12, it's talking about somebody who is wicked that's occurring to. Maybe we can even use the Septuagint.
Okay,
as well.
and
Go ahead.
I'm not arguing the fact that in Isaiah that it is always in reference to an evil or something that had fallen out of the grace of God.
I'm
That's
arguing
not
I'm arguing that the specific word that's used here in Hebrew is something that is only in accordance to things that are wicked in the Old Testament. So then if that is the case, then Isaiah 14:12 through 14, right, contextually speaking, would be referring to something wicked.
Yes, right. It came down, though. It's still saying that it was a wicked thing that came down from heaven, correct?
Yes, because it fell from heaven. It was casted out because it was wicked. That's the entire point.
Okay. And then it's claimed in the Bible that Jesus just descended. So it was a choice.
It doesn't. What do you mean descent? Are you talking about on the last day, or what?
Well, okay, so Jesus was in heaven before the incarnation, correct?
I mean, like technically speaking, like he's still in heaven even when he's incarnate, technically. So I don't understand. He doesn't like literally move. He doesn't move the position of his divinity or something like that when he incarnates.
So Jesus never went from heaven to earth?
Again, he went to heaven and earth, like insofar as his person took on a human flesh. But the divinity in of itself, that is something that is, technically speaking, the omni properties of being also omnipresent to a degree, right? I'm not saying like in all sense, as in like it's literally just everything whatsoever in everything, because omnipresence is kind of debated about when it comes to like what that actually means, like in other religions. So I don't like using that word. But the divinity in of itself of Christ doesn't literally leave heaven just because he incarnates. The Trinity is still in this thing called perichoresis, or a mutual indwelling, even if Christ is incarnate as a man. So he's still with the Father, and he's still with the Spirit.
This is where my confusion lies.
Why is that?
Go ahead.
Why is your confusion lie?
Oh, it's because... because in order for there to be a presence within a human form, or for God to take the human form and humble itself and show humility, there must be a descension from heaven to earth.
Him humbling himself is taking on flesh in the
whether or
first
not
place.
you use...
I mean, that is him humbling
Yeah, but
himself.
you can't take... Right. And like, in order for that to take place, you have to leave heaven in some capacity. So whether you fall or descend, there's no way for you to really decipher between the two, is because now you have two persons that have presence in heaven and presence on earth, and the only person in the Bible that can successfully check off every box on the I will list is Jesus. And Jesus, the person in Isaiah, was in heaven and then on earth descended, and Jesus was, according to the incarnation, in heaven and then on earth. So there's just a lot of parallels that keep lining up. And then you have Revelations 22:16.
Does that also apply
Jesus
to the Spirit of
directly
God,
says,
where the Spirit of God is in heaven but then also manifests on earth? Does that also apply to angels? Are angels now also perfect criteria to this? I don't understand. Like, because you're giving like very specific criterias to things that would also technically be in heaven, but also come down to earth. That's like that could apply to anything in a general sense. I'm saying that in Isaiah 14, though, it's explicitly stating that whatever this thing that fell is of wicked nature in some way, shape, or form. So
okay, and the wicked nature doesn't automatically exclude Jesus from the conversation if Jesus is the only person that fulfilled all five of those I wills, where angels
this verse
can
is not,
descend
this verse
from
is not an
heaven
identity
to earth.
statement of Satan. That's the thing that you're making a mistake with. This is not like a statement that's prophesying the criteria for what it takes to be Satan. That's not the point of this verse. It's just giving a historical context of what happened to Satan in the time of the Old Testament and what his plan is. So in the time of, technically speaking, actually, in terms of Satan falling from heaven, that is something that had already occurred. long before Isaiah, because Satan was the ruler of earth, right? It says that he was the ruler of earth, right? In terms of being casted out of heaven, that he became basically the god of this world, right? So he was somebody who was already here way prior to Isaiah. So this isn't a future thing. This, because Isaiah comes way before the New Testament. So this already occurred. This is just describing his plan.
The fall.
And something can happen. The fall of Satan already occurred. So saying that, oh, well, Jesus fits this criteria because he comes down from heaven. No, that wouldn't apply actually in Isaiah 14. That wouldn't actually fit that criteria because it already happened to Satan. That's a past event that occurred before the fall of Adam.
Okay, so there's really no way to prove that Jesus only came down directly in the incarnation, like at the time of the pregnancy, is there?
I mean, we do believe that he manifests in the Old Testament and to some degree. But like when it comes to him actually incarnating, I mean, like there's prophecies of him incarnating in the Old Testament, but it describes it as a future event, that the Messiah is God and that the Messiah is, or that whoever God is going to incarnate. Like we can see things like Zechariah 12, verse 10, where it says that they will look on me whom they've pierced. Right? Things like that, where there's prophecies about Yahweh himself being the one that's going to suffer in some way, shape, or form.
Okay. Can you give me your breakdown of Revelation 22:16?
Yeah, let me pull it up. I, Jesus, have sent my angel to testify to you these things in the churches. I am the root and the offspring of David, the bright and morning star.
Isn't that Jesus verbatim saying that he is the thing from Isaiah?
Yeah, the problem is that, so when it says morning star, right, morning star is something that can apply to many different beings. When he says that, like, he is the morning star, right, he's talking about the light of the world, right? Satan, prior to falling, was the light of the world as well. He was an angel who basically assisted, technically speaking, in degree in creation. Right, not obviously assisted in literally creating everything, but you know what I mean. He was part of the council as Yahweh was creating, the general earth. Right, it says that he created the heavens and the earth, and then obviously in our view, in our tradition, that the angels basically were there when God created the earth. So, I mean, like all of the angels fit that category of being morning star, being the light of the world prior to the earth or during the earth's creation.
I understand that there are many beings that fit that criteria, but there is only one person in the Bible that would fit the criteria of checking all the boxes of the I will statements from Isaiah. That's where like it really kind of bottlenecks for me, is that it could be loosely referencing many other beings, but then when you take those 5 I will statements and you honestly look at what Jesus was able to, the name of Jesus was able to successfully achieve, then there's only one person in the Bible that can say I did instead of I will.
Well, I mean, in terms of like Isaiah 14, the first category right there that says he descended, right, in the form of wickedness in some way, shape, or form, and that this is something that already happened, that this then therefore this wouldn't be Jesus already off of that criteria. Just that one thing would honestly nix Jesus from being that, because
this will be my last question, and I'll let you bring somebody else up. Do you think that humility can be a form of deception, or can be used in deception?
Yeah, I can say that. I could say that humility can be used in a negative manner. Sure. I mean, any of the positive virtues can be used for evil at the end of the day. Like, for example, like giving to the poor, like you could have an underlying, some kind of underlying system, right? That basically causes you to utilize that. Now, granted, I would say that if you're utilizing humility in a negative manner, that you're not actually humble anyway. You have rather an agenda that makes you appear humble.
Yes, I would say that it would be an act, therefore it wouldn't be a good thing. But if we're to talk about Lucifer, Satan, and being the prince of deception, it's always kind of like taken as like a brute, uneducated Neanderthal when it comes to Lucifer's ability to deceive. So if you think that there is no other being as capable of deception as Lucifer, then humility would be the ultimate form of deception.
No, because the thing that caused Satan to fall in the first place was pride, which is the literal opposite of humility. So exercising humility truly is something where you're giving you're submitting and giving your will to God. That is the entire point of humility. You are somebody who is realizing that your ways are not the best ways and that you need to submit to God. If Satan were to use that as the ultimate deception, then he's bringing people to God. Hallelujah. Which obviously, if Satan is a real person, he wouldn't do that. So he would. So then, let me put it like this: if there was a bad guy, and the ultimate way to worship the good guy is to be humble, so that you can understand that there is a God above you. It's one of the parts of humility, right? Would the bad guy try to get you to submit to God? No. The bad guy would try to make you think that you can do things on your own and that you can deal with it. You can handle the problems. That's pride. That's exactly what Satan fell for, because of the fact that he believed he could do it himself. And you can actually see that in Isaiah 14, where he wants to be above God. He wants to be on the throne. He wants to be the one. He doesn't want to submit to something above him, right? If he wanted to deceive people, you'd have to make people believe that that is what you got to do, that you got to basically be your own God, which is seen in many different worldviews today. You can see Satan embedded in many, many worldviews. That view of pride.
I hate to quote a lyric from a song, but do you know the song by TLC where if at first you don't succeed, dust yourself off and try again? I kind of feel like that's relevant to this, because just because Satan or Lucifer failed in the beginning, why should I believe that the being wasn't capable of reevaluating its strategy and applying a different strategy to achieve what it ultimately wanted? And in the New Testament, what we see is Jesus is established as the only way to the Father. So if you apply humility, if you just reapply strategy and you say, well, I can't word it this way anymore because that's what got me in trouble, then the ultimate deception would be humility, where you take the second in command, but then you also achieve being equal to, which is what Jesus did.
Okay. I mean, if you want, I can get like super in depth about our theology on the reasoning behind why Satan can't change his ways, if that's what you're asking. Because like there actually is a reason behind that. So all creatures.
I've never heard that Satan can't change its ways.
Well, so you have to remember this. All angels, right? All things that are living in this thing called the aeon, which is basically the motionless time, where it's basically time that's not measured by motion. They're not moved per se. They're created as in going from potency to actuality. So they're not absolutely motionless, but they're created to be motionless to a degree. Now, granted, when God also created the chronos, when God created the motion, the time measured by motion, if angels in some way, shape, or form chose to make a decision in some way, shape, or form by being a part of the chronos or being part of the time measured by motion, that if they are casted, right, out of heaven completely, then whatever their will that they were casted out by is something that would be locked It would not be something that they would be able to undo because of the fact that they are held to a completely different standard than human beings are held to. Because they were created for a very specific purpose to do a very specific thing. They were still given free will, but that free will is utilized differently when they're not somebody going from potency to actuality constantly. But when God opened up the capability for potency to exist in the first place, Satan immediately utilized that and made it to where his form of actuality or his form of work is pride. He made that his primary methodology of moving. The only way, and because Satan is the ultimate evil in terms of him being the worst of the worst, nothing can actually cause him to change the way that he's evil or cause him to come back to being good, because he's the ultimate source of being actual evil. Granted, he's not literally actual evil. Evil is not something that possesses ontology, but we apply it to the person of Satan. He does not have basically the ability to be moved, kind of like I was talking about the argument of emotion with that atheist guy earlier. That something that is in potency must be moved by another, right? So something cannot go from potency to actuality by itself. So Satan would have to be basically convinced by another evil thing that is worse than Satan to move him from potentially using humility as a deception to being actual and then using that. Nothing's worse than Satan, so then therefore Satan can't be convinced of another way. Does that make sense at all?
Yeah, it does kind of make sense. Like he's locked into it. I understand. I
He's
am
the ultimate
curious
evil.
though.
Nothing can make him more
Aren't
evil or differently evil.
Aren't Lucifer and Satan different reference? Like Satan is derived from Ha-Satan, which is like the accuser.
Yeah.
And then Lucifer was like the bringer of light. And so in this case, we would be talking about a being or person that would be Lucifer. And if I'm correct, Lucifer was at one point second in command before the fall.
Well, that's
correct?
That's a lot of apocryphal stuff right there, like the whole like order of angels thing. Saint Dionysius the Areopagite actually writes a little bit about that. He has this thing called the Divine Hierarchy, where he writes about the different types of angels and writes a very small amount about like the stuff that he's heard about the fall of the angels and whatnot. But it's up for debate. That kind of stuff is like super. It's just kind of traditional.
Okay, so maybe you could give your context. And my Bluetooth just cut out. I'm sorry if I interrupted.
No, you're good. So when it comes to Satan and Lucifer, right? Lucifer is something that name is something that's more applied in the medieval ages. Okay. That's technically just the word morning star in a different way. So, like, when it says that's the reason why we don't utilize it as a name for Satan, because there are a lot of beings that actually have applied the word morning star, Luciferus, I think it is, as their name. I mean, Jesus, technically speaking, calls himself that in Revelation 22:16. Satan being named the accuser, that's due to the book of Job.
Can I jump in and ask you a question real quick?
Yeah.
Hold on. I'm really curious. When God said, "Let there be light," are there arguments that exist currently that the first thing that God made was the morning star?
I mean, like, in our view, when it says "let there be light," I haven't heard an argument for that. But the argument that we give for what that passage actually means when he says "let there be light" in the first place, that is actually the Son of God. That's the Word, right? Jesus is the Word, and it says, "And God said," or God's voice spoke, "Let there be light." That's simply just God enacting His energies onto creation to basically sustain it until He were to create a form of natural means to condense or to contain light, and then create natural means of light like photons and whatnot. So when he says "let there be light," that's
I was just curious if you had heard anything about that.
Yeah, no, I haven't heard an argument about people trying to say like that's the creation of Satan or whatever. because by the time that God says, "Let there be light," we believe the angels already exist by that point. They have already been created by that point. Because the fall is something, because the divine counselor, the angels, right, shouted, "Holy, holy, holy," when God created Earth. So they were already there, to a degree.
Okay. Yeah, I don't like using the word Satan. I like just because I do believe
Satan,
that
but
like
you have to remember though
Satan
that
comes from Ha-Satan, which is like in the original text it doesn't mean like a distinct person. It means like an accuser or somebody who questions God
it does
in the
mean
original text.
it does mean a very specific accuser though. Have you ever read the book of Job?
Yeah, when I was a kid, I read the Bible many times as punishment. It's been a long time since I read the Bible from cover to cover.
So the name Satan, in terms of English, including the capital S, right? Like that is something that explicitly refers to the one that is in the book of Job. There is the accuser in the book of Job, who actually comes to God and accuses God directly, saying, "Job only likes you because you give him whatever he wants." And God says, "Okay, fine, take it all away from him." Right? And then Job goes through trials and tribulations to show he still has faith. It's a classic story. Right? So that's quoting a very specific accuser. The one that is in the book of Job is explicitly like the Satan, the devil, right? So that's the reason like why we do have like a clarification of the accuser. There's a very specific accuser. Yes, the word can be used to mean a generic person or a generic person who's against God or something like that. It's kind of like how there's devils and then there's the devil. It's a similar situation.
Yeah, I understand. I'm just like from my understanding, Lucifer had something to do more with light bearer or bringer of light, and that's why I've always like made a distinction between the two, because even though like I guess you can make the
Lucifer
argument
can
that they
refer
are
to
one and
pretty
the
much
same.
like any morning star predicated person. That's the reason why we don't normally apply that. Accuser is never used as something good for literally anything. So using that for the word to determine to say the devil or Satan is the best method, because an accuser in the Old Testament always means somebody against God. And there is an ultimate one that is against God that convinces everybody to be against God. And that would be the accuser of Job.
Where was okay? We'll just agree that Lucifer, Satan, the devil, all the same. That they're three words for the same being.
Sure.
Where was Satan's rank in heaven before the fall?
It's not really written down. I mean, people don't really have very much insider knowledge on the war in heaven, bro. The only thing we know about it is that it occurred and that apparently Michael freaking slapped him silly, and he didn't even get to God. But we don't know much more than that.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't there like something to do with music at one point, or there's like an interpretation where Satan had musical responsibilities in heaven? Do you understand any of that, or am I just talking out of my backside?
I'm not aware of that.
Okay, all right. So I need to do a deeper dive on.
Yeah, I'm not aware if Satan was like a musical angel or anything like that. He did. It's in the Bible. Subject, what verse is that in? I want to read that. He did say it's in the Bible, so I do want to read that. You might be right. It's funny because on YouTube someone said "Common Michael the Archangel W," and then somebody immediately on TikTok said "Saint Michael the Archangel common W." at the same time, bro. Hive mind. Ezekiel 28:13. Oh, by the way, guys, after this, I'm probably going to be, after this conversation, I'm probably going to be calling it, because I'm not going to lie to you. I feel terrible right now. I just recently definitely fell into a cold probably about 5 or 6 hours ago, and I am struggling to even stay awake right now. But I wanted to at least have this conversation. I do apologize. I probably will end up streaming again, like either in 2 days or a couple after that. Like, I'm going to make sure that I stream again in a short span, because sadly this is only going to be like a 2-hour stream probably. But I'm like barely holding on right now. Anyway, you were in Eden, the garden of God. Every precious stone was your covering. The sardius, topaz, and diamond, beryl, onyx, and jasper, sapphire, turquoise, and emerald with gold. The workmanship of your timbrels and pipes were prepared for you on the day that you were created. Yeah, so I guess you'd be right there. I mean, that makes sense.
Okay, I can't remember the relevance. I was just I wondered.
I mean, it's pretty clear. It's pretty clear right here that it's talking about the devil, and that he had a role to basically possess instruments in some way, shape, or form. You know.
I want to say, and I might be going too far out on a limb, but it was that the devil was perfection before, like, was created perfection before anything else was considered perfect, and that's why it was such a deception to God, is that God made it essentially perfect, and it still wanted more.
Well,
There's parallels.
You got to remember
like,
that, like, when we say
how you describe Jesus.
When we say that God makes things perfect, or we say that God makes things good, right? Like, we're not literally saying that he creates things to be completely impeccable, or that he creates things to be uncorruptible in any way, shape, or form. When he creates things that are good, he means that they're naturally oriented towards being with God. Not the fact that they don't have the choice to not be, because they do have the choice not to be. But they're created with their natural inclination, their natural intent to be with the ultimate good. So then they are good because of that. Same thing with the angels. Same thing with all creatures, right? That's what we say when we say things are made perfect or made good, because God did it. That does not mean that then, therefore, he did not provide the world with the ability to corrupt themselves. It doesn't actually change their nature. It just adds stains to their persons, or adds stains to the human nature, like Adam did with the fall. The nature itself is good. That's where we disagree with Calvinists.
That verse, I'm not familiar with Calvinism.
Calvinism have a lot more harder view on, like, original sin and things like that, where they would honestly posit that after basically Adam committed the first sin, that human nature actually was changed, that it was literally changed. See, we would say that there was an accident that was added onto human nature, but it didn't actually change the nature in of itself. They would say that literally the nature itself was basically reconfigured by the act of disobedience. We don't say that. No, we don't say that the nature itself was actually changed. Something was just added.
Well, I mean, like, the acquisition of knowledge changes how you function, right?
As a person.
Not necessarily that you did something bad. So I guess I would just say that, like, if there was a change, it would probably be motivated by the new knowledge. But yeah, that's a conversation for another day. I really appreciate the conversation. Thank you. It was very insightful, and I hope you feel better.
Sure thing, bro. Thanks. I hope I feel better too, because I'm freaking, dude, I'm not even kidding you right now. I feel horrible. I, like, want to cough, but I can't. My throat is killing me. I have, like, these terrible chills, but also, like, aches. Like, I'm like legit sick, and I hate it, because, like, I've been sick twice during Lent now. This Lent. I don't know why. You think if I rage bait you some more, it'll cancel out the sickness? No. It'll just raise my cortisol and make it worse. You know? That flu was promised to me 2,000 years ago. It was. So, yeah. Anyway, sorry for the short convo this time. I got to talk with atheist guy and then Free, because Free's always fun to bring up here. He's always got fun questions. And then we got to hear Goy Father freaking slap a rabbinic Jew guy around. Ericoda, thank you very much for the $5, man. He says, here's some money to make you feel better later, man. Appreciate it, bro. We were looking forward to the next stream on a serious note. Absolutely, man. You see how quick I was with that verse pull-up? I'm so goated. Yeah, absolutely, bro. Appreciate that. Anyway, I'll catch you guys later.